Lovely to see you. Hello. I'm just trying to. Alright. I think we're good there. How are we doing today? A bit of Anthony Brown to get us in this in the mood. To get us in the mood for our session this evening. The song is Trust in You. I'm Christian, so I need this kind of music to talk to me. I hope it's talking to you too. Thank you for coming online this evening. Thank you for joining me. Hi dear, thank you. Thank you for coming online. So I'm just going to wait for a few minutes. I'm a little late. Well, I take full responsibility, okay? I'm later than I should have been. It was supposed to start at 8 p.m. But here we are. Apologies. My apologies for the time, right? For my tardiness. I apologize for that. No excuses. It just so happened, and I apologize for that. So how are we doing? How has it been? How have the past 2 days been? Since the last time we spoke. How are you doing? Great. How are the children? The children in your care? The ones you're responsible for, the ones you're biologically responsible for, and the one that you're taking responsibility for. How are they doing? I hope you are doing good as well. Thank you. Thank you, bro, for joining me. Hi. How is my sis doing? How are the children doing? Lovely to see you. So the song is Anthony Brown, like I said, in case you want to check it out. Alright, I think we can get into our conversation for the day. Yes. Alright, let's turn our music off. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Alright, so today we're going to be discussing visionary parenting, and it's important. It's critical. And I think this is a good time. We're going into a new year, and we're making plans, right? For some people, they're writing goals. Some are doing a review of 2020. Some people are writing goals. They're making preparations for the new year, for their careers, for their jobs, for business, for their health, for their ministry. A lot of people are making serious decisions, and they're making plans. And I thought it would be good to gear us up, to remind us that we're supposed to make plans for the family, right? And then for our children, okay? And how else to help us realize this than to paint a picture, to let us know that the task at hand is so serious and it's so critical that we can't afford to fail at it. We can't afford to fail at it. I say this a lot. Not everybody can parent. Not everybody should parent. Because the responsibility is huge. The risk is even more huge. And it takes a toll. Yes. It takes a toll on you as a parent. Okay? It is like the most consistent thing that you would do for the longest time. Because as a parent, you really truly never stop parenting. You are looking after your... If you have a mom like mine, she still looks after me. Alright? So the job of a parent is never done. But the foundational work is critical to what is obtained at the end of the day. And that is what I'm here to do this evening. Alright? So thank you again for coming online. Thank you for taking the time to watch this, to brush up okay, if you will, to brush up and to pick one or two things that will help you as a parent, right? So I'm a family life practitioner. I'm trained in family systems engineering, and that is why I am capable, all right, qualified to have this conversation with you this evening. I'm also quite passionate about parenting, about children, about the future, but my angle is the parent, the seed handler. Yes, that is my angle, that is my perspective, right? And so I believe that a good number of us need to change, need to become different people before we can raise these children that we're trying to raise. But then as a parent, what do you see? As a parent, what do you see? Now, vision has been defined as the ability to see things not just as the way they are, see things, people, situations, not just as what and who they are, but as who and as what that they can become, right? That is the definition of vision. So visionary parenting, picking back off that definition of vision, is therefore the ability to see your child not just as who they are, but as who they can become. Let me say quickly here that to correctly do this, you must observe them. You must take responsibility to become a student. I'll use the example, I spoke about the seed handler earlier. I'll use the example of a farmer. Now, you want to go into farming and you don't know anything at all about the different varieties of seeds. So you see a bean seed now, and you think it is rice. So if you treat beans like rice, would you get the perfect results? Because the results are predictable once you get the conditions right and the environment right. You treat the seed correctly, you understand the needs of the seed, you see things from time to time from the seed's perspective. So you tell yourself, wow, I need to water these seeds, I think they're dry. They're not telling you anything, you're just observant. You're looking at the plant and you're like, wow, I need to provide some sort of what do they call these things that remove weeds? Herbicides, right? You want to remove weeds from the environment of your plants because of your understanding of the needs of that seed. So that is what I'm trying to describe here. So as a parent, you have to become a student. You have to learn about your seed. You have to learn about the right environment. You have to learn about the needs. You have to learn how to communicate. You have to learn what this seed requires to be the best that they can see. And vision in this case will be you as a farmer getting a seed of beans and then seeing a plantation or seeing a bag or seeing a huge, humongous harvest. That is the responsibility that you have. And it is this understanding that will make you put in the work, that will make you wake up very, very early and go to the farm to remove weeds, to fertilize where necessary, to make water available. Okay? It is this future that you see. That is what propels you. That is why nobody needs to wake you up in the morning. You're up early by yourself because you know something is at stake. That is what I'm trying to describe to you this evening as a parent. So let's look at vision now, using the law of time perspective. I like to use this to analyze visioning as a parent a lot. Now, this law tells us, and I'm paraphrasing here, that the longer the time taken into consideration while making decisions right here, right now, current decisions, the better the outcome that you get. The person who thinks the furthest and takes that consciousness into consideration while making decisions today gets better results, and the person who thinks short term. So as a parent, you must see, and you must see far. You must see that small acorn and see an oak tree. Your vision for your child is everything. If you're unable to see that far, you won't put in the resources required to raise that child. Like I said, as a parent, as a seed handler, as a farmer, I'm not calling your child beans or cassava or yam, no. But as a seed handler, you must see, and you must see far, right? If the parents of certain characters in our historic and present day political reality for example, had seen the future, maybe they would have helped their children learn character, discipline, maybe some compassion sprinkled in there, maybe a consciousness of fairness, maybe some integrity, to name a few attributes. Maybe if they had seen the potential or the possibility of their children rising that far, that high up in society, having control over resources of many, right? If they had seen that, maybe they would have done a little more to help raise people that we want as citizens, as responsible Nigerians who complain on the regular. We won't have anything to complain about today. Some people were able to raise children. Some people saw the future and were able to raise children, right? That are able to solve problems. And we see the results of some of their work today. An example is Zoom. Now, somebody saw far enough into the future to create a tool that all of us will rely on in the wake of the pandemic, right? Some people are in hospitals caring for sick people right now. Some people haven't seen their family members in months because they don't want to expose them. And in countries where COVID-19 has really ravaged them, a good number of healthcare professionals couldn't go home, chose not to go home. We heard reports of some people who came out of retirement to help. How did they learn that sense of responsibility, that consciousness, that awareness that, oh, I have this capacity and my world is in need. Let me show up and be responsible for people. I watched the speeches of the newly appointed Economic Dream Team put together by the President-elect of the United States, Joe Biden. And where I was watching with my husband, and something that stood out to us, right, was that a good number of them, including the president-elect himself, kept referring to something that their father said, right? Something the father had said or the parents had said, because someone mentioned their mother, who raised her as a single parent, right? Something they had over and over reiterated words, and they heard words dignity, hard work, service, commitment, and we were talking to each other that, hey, we have to put words in these children that would resonate with them in their old age like this. Sentences, statements that will stand out to them, that will come to their remembrance when they're maybe in a tight spot, and they will remember that my father said I can do this. My mother said I'm capable of this, right? Like I've always said, your voice becomes your child's inner voice. So when your child remembers your words as an adult, what do they hear? What comes to their remembrance? What do your words, what feeling can your words give them? What's that they remember? Is it shame? Is it annoyance? Is it disgust? Or is it more on a positive note of courage, of you can do this, you can handle this, you're more than this? Or maybe somebody has done something and upset them. What do they remember? Do they remember you saying things like, don't be a mumu? If somebody slaps you, you slap them back. Or they remember things like, well, interpretation is everything. What this person has said, my reaction is dependent on my interpretation of it. So I can choose to see it as, oh wow, this person said I'm a cow, for example. Clearly, this person is not seeing well. If this person were seeing better, they will not look at me, a whole human being, and call me a cow. And then they don't take offense. Why? Because they realize they are not what that person said. They are who they are in and of themselves. They are aware of what they carry. They understand their intrinsic value, right? And you have done that. Okay? So parenting is discipleship. Discipleship to help a child become the best version of themselves, fully expressing their gifts and capability, therefore being a solution to their world. Okay? So if you see your child as a seed, fully expressing his gifts, like I said, becoming the best version of themselves, capable of independent thought, able to self-regulate, can think of meeting the needs of others to the largest scale possible, because I spoke about being a solution. This is how your child can become a global solution provider, if he can meet the needs of others on a global scale. Someone like Mark Zuckerberg is doing that. Everybody around the world, except in a few countries, maybe China, I don't know of any, that have limited the use of Facebook. is relying on Mark Zuckerberg to keep tabs on other people. Also, on the more positive note, they're using Facebook for business. People are able to keep their families aware of what's going on in their lives. There's a whole network of people interacting virtually because one young man, dared to see things differently. And I believe that he was raised with that capacity to see things differently. Do you want to raise that kind of child? I do. Right? And so, having that vision is what will tell me what I need to do. What I need to do, right? To become that person. So, if you see your child as all of this and more that I've described, if you have this vision, you must now answer this important question. Can I, in my current form, raise this individual who will become all of these things? Can I, in my current form? If your answer is no, you must ask yourself, who must I become to raise this type of individual? What load must I shed? What things do I need to pick up to become the person that can raise this individual, right? Because the kingmaker is as valuable as the king. I wanted to say even more valuable, but I'm talking about people, right? So I don't want to, everybody has value, okay? So the kingmaker is as important as the king, right? So the seed is really at the mercy of the handler and the environment. The seed can come loaded with benefits. If it requires water to grow and all it gets is heat, those preloaded benefits will have no opportunity to bloom. So it wouldn't matter whatever the seed came with if the environment and the seed handler do not work hand in hand to help this seed actualize its capabilities. Now, as a person, you're a product of your significant emotional experiences, your upbringing, and your environment. All of these combined with your temperament help to color and shape your perspective and perception of life. There's a sensible saying that I've heard before, and that saying is that we see things the way we are, not the way they are. Right? We see things the way they are. We are not the way they are. So it goes without saying that you have lenses on, just like I do. Just like I do right now. You have lenses on. You have filters on that you may not even be aware of as a person. But when you become a parent, you have to take a step back and beam the searchlight on yourself so that you don't stand in the way of the future that you see for your child. You have to evolve. You have to become the person who sees things in a whole new light. You can walk alone, but that's okay. Where you're going with that child, where that child is going, where you're taking that child to, is what is critical at this point in time. Now, I'm not trying to blame you, right? In any way, you're a product of circumstances that were mostly beyond your control. What I'm asking you to do, however, is to realize that as an adult, as a parent who literally has the future in their hand, you must put in the work in raising an exceptional human being. Let's take a step back a little bit and go back to some basics of visionary parenting. Now, visionary parenting has to do with an awareness or the consciousness of the inherent immutable value in your child. The inherent and immutable value in your child. Inherent because, like I said, the seed comes preloaded with benefits, with the capacity to grow and expand and increase exponentially. Of course, in the direction that they are supposed to go in, obviously. That's why we talked about observation earlier as a parent. If your child is really young, this is important for you. If I knew what I know now, when my children were much younger, I would have made different choices. But I'm grateful that I know now. At least I can do something, right? But if your child is really young, you have an amazing opportunity to script that child, to be so intentional to the last detail. Let me use an example. We have a new prince in Africa, in Ile-Ife, right? A baby was just born to the family of the Oni of Ife, who is the traditional ruler, first class Oba, as they put it, in Ile-Ife, right? Now, imagine the choices that will be made concerning that young man. choices that will be made by his mother. Everybody in the palace is aware, and I believe, if I don't have this wrong, he's the first son of this king. So there's a lot hanging in there, a lot of moving pieces that are carefully coordinated, because the future of that child is predestinated. He is royalty. Hi sis, welcome, thank you for joining. He is royalty by blood, and that's a thing of beauty. Really, he's royalty by blood. So picture the kind of decisions that will be made concerning that child. I was talking about inherent value. Whatever that child does not change who he is. So if I don't know his name now, but let's say the Prince of Ife. Okay, it sounds like the Prince of Egypt, but let's go with the Prince of Ife. So let's say the Prince of Ife runs around the house and drops a vase. Does it change the fact that he's a prince? No, he's a prince. And whoever is in that vicinity better take care to address the prince respectfully and say, Prince, oh yeah, you should not have dropped that thing. Next time, okay? Don't run around. Just play gently, okay? Well done. Yorubas will say pele, right? Why? Because he's a prince. He's a prince. Your child is royalty. That is what you need to realize in casting this vision, in your visionary thinking as a parent. Your child is royalty and must be treated as such by both you and everyone around you. You should let that sink in. There is nothing your child can do that will change the value that your child as a person was born with. Nothing. So don't let society, our culture of harshness and force and shouting and everything, don't let them let you forget the capacity and the exactly yes, the person who puts it there will have to, you're very right, will have to have more responsibility in the matter than the child who broke it. Why? Because he's a prince. His future is settled. His future is understood. And I'm sure, I don't know, but I believe that people in the palace will be reminded every now and again that you're talking to a prince. Comport yourself. Arrange yourself. You're talking to a prince. So, can your child get that kind of regard? Can your perception of your child evolve from whatever it is now because your child has misplaced a pencil, thrown away one leg of one shoe? I don't know. I'm trying to imagine what your child could have done. Can you be reminded now? Can I respectfully remind you now that your child is royalty? Yes. Your child has come with that value, and you must do your best to relate with him appropriately, to provide a palace as much as you can for him, because this value that your child has come with, you will communicate that value to that child. This is what is missing in a lot of people, and this is what girl children is a what's the word I'm looking at? Is a misappropriation, a misunderstanding of this concept that makes parents repeatedly, especially Yoruba parents now, repeatedly tell female children, you will be a wife someday. Is this how you will scatter your husband's house? Is this, you will not be neat? Won't you put this in their place? You'll be somebody's wife someday. But they fail to let that child know that they are so much more. They are so much more than that role. What I'm asking you to do is to expand your vision for that child. Your girl child, your boy child, expand your vision. See them as giants, right? See them on the way to where they're going. See them as at that end, because that is part of what visionary parenting is about. See them as the fully fledged, fully grown adults, right? The regard that you will give them then, don't wait. I'm not asking you to call your child uncle or auntie, but the regard that you will give them then, let them get used to receiving it now. That's what I'm asking you to do as a parent, because of what you see. You must communicate that value. Let them know. Yes, I was talking about the girl child. Let them understand the value that they carry. You are the one that can let them realize it. They see themselves, they grow, maybe it's hot, they're in their underwear, they're running around the house. It still doesn't mean that they are not who they are. Don't wait until they are fully grown to communicate their regards to them. As a female child, as a male child, they must understand. You must let them understand that their value, so that they know what they deserve and they know what they don't. Maybe if we did a lot more of this, we would have less cases of people sticking around after domestic violence. That's a different conversation, but that just came to my mind. My sister said, this brings to mind Prince Harry. They don't talk about him anyhow, regardless of how he behaves. Yes, but they talk to his wife anyhow. Misappropriation, misunderstanding, the disrespect of it all. Okay, so moving on, like I said, your consciousness of your child's value informs how you communicate with him, how you relate with him, his immediate environment, your behavior around him. Because you are relating with a king, you have to act like a kingmaker yourself, like the queen mother yourself, right? And we're going to discuss perceptual code in the coming weeks, but this is in line with that. Okay, now visionary parenting can also be viewed in the light of intentional parenting, which I love to talk about, obviously. And that is making a plan for your children with an end in mind, right? It's based on two premises. The understanding that the time that we have with our children is limited. Now, I don't mean you won't live long, but what I'm trying to say is that the window that we have control over them, full control, where they don't challenge us, where they don't have a different perspective, where what you say is it, mommy said it and that's that, daddy said it and that's that, is a window, right? It's a window. Now, ages 0 to 8 have been concluded to be the early childhood formative years, right, by UNICEF. And the early childhood, which spans up to 8 years of age, is critical for cognitive, social, emotional, and physical development of the child. So what you do with this window is critical. Parenting is about relationship, forging a bond with your child. And unfortunately, it's this period that a lot of parents miss it. For some reason, they believe that their children are so young that they are not aware. They don't know. So they delegate responsibilities to other people. And that bond that will last through the lifetime is formed in this window. I'm not saying it can't be formed, but if it's formed in this window, then throughout the rest of the time the child has to stay at home, you're reinforcing it, right? You're reinforcing that already formed bond. You don't have to, you get to know your child gets to know you. Like I said, you're a student, you have observed, you have watched this child, you know what they need, you know how to communicate with them, you know how to get them to comply if you have done it right. You know how to communicate with them. They rate you, they regard you, they want to obey you. You give them an instruction, and then you understand that you don't lecture all the time. You don't just talk, just say, go and do that. You get their buy-in, you have a conversation, you let them see your point of view, you give them an explanation of why it is a good idea for them to get this and that done. It is growth. It's not the way we were raised. It's not the way I was raised. So I'm not saying this because it's easy, but I'm telling you it is the better way to get your child to comply than shouting out instructions, right? So some of these parents show up to take children on trips, they buy them stuff, they buy them toys, fancy clothes, expensive stuff. But what a child needs in that period is just time. It's time. It's critical for observation and for bonding. Parents should take an active role in their child's education and welfare, right? So that they can attain their maximum potential in life. Good health and nutrition, as well as a loving and nurturing environment, improves a child's success in life as a whole. This is UNICEF. Okay? This is not my words. These are not my words. This is UNICEF. right? I tell parents, parenting may not be an exact science, but human behavior is. And some people have taken time to study and observe, and they've taken notes. So why don't we leverage on that information and do what is best by our children, right? Children they listen more to what we say, to what we do, than what we say, right? And so let me just chip in something that you can do if you're a parent of a young child between ages 0 to 3. If you're a parent of a baby and a toddler between ages 0 to 3, Maria Montessori described the theory of the absorbent mind, and she refers to the mind's capacity to take in information and sensations from the world around it, right? So a child just needs to be exposed to influences. They're not required to put in any effort into learning in this window of ages 0 to 3. So as a parent, how can you maximize this period? Show them an example. Be a good example. Exhibit good behavior around them. That's why when you tell your 2-year-old, when you sneeze around your 2-year-old, they say bless you, if as much as they can. My son used to pat me on the back, even as a 2 plus almost 3-year-old. He would rub my back when I coughed or something, because we did that to him. So he understood compassion. And then they say sorry. It's because you say sorry to them. So you can maximize that window and expose them to as much good behavior. Television, not television for extended periods, because it's not advisable for children on that too to watch screens. Yes, it's not advisable because it's addictive. But they can learn sensory things. They can watch TV and screens for after age 2 for maybe 30 minutes to 1 hour a day. They can learn a lot of stuff, and they absorb, and they can touch stuff. You can let them learn about textures. They can know soft, they can know hard, they can learn colors, they can remember, they can learn languages. Just expose them to it, right? So you can maximize this window. That was a bonus. Okay, so the second premise of intentional parenting is knowing that our actions and inactions have far-reaching consequences in the lives of our children. So we have to be deliberate about the choices that we make for and towards our children. What you say matters. What you do matters. How you respond to them, especially if you consider their personality type, it matters. The child's self-esteem can be torn apart by you unintentionally if you don't take care, if you are not careful, if you don't exercise caution. And we don't want that. And you don't want to, well, if you pay me to help you, I'll be willing to help out. But you don't want to tear it down and then have to rebuild it. It's a challenge. It's like fabric that has been torn in half, and then you sew it back. The stitch marks will show. The fabric is back together, yes, but the stitch marks will show. But that fabric came in intact. So what I'm asking is that you don't tear it. Okay? Your method of communication to them is important. How you relate with them. I talked about forming a bond with your child. Practice with mundane things. They bring something to you, show interest. Put your phone aside. Listen to them. Give them your full attention. Right? Look at them eyeball to eyeball. They want to tell you about the point. Listen to the point. Practice with these things. Let them get used to. Let them have it in their mind that whenever I need mommy, she's there. Whenever I need daddy, he's there. So that when they now have issues in future, they will know to come to you. I saw a tweet the other day and it made so much sense. The person said that I hope to raise my children such that when they run into trouble outside, they know to come to me. They know to call me. They don't think this man will kill me today. This woman will kill me today. And that is what you want as a parent, right? So as an intentional parent, you're on a mission. You're on a mission. You're taking responsibility as you should for your child. So you must cast a vision. You take the future into consideration. And what this will do is that it will chart a course for you. You can see clearly where you are going. So you know not to deviate to the left or to the right. You're not making mistakes. You're not emotional. You're taking decisions by where you are going, where the destination is. That's why it's important to have a picture, right? So imagine, picture Serena and Venus Williams, for instance. Picture their parents. They must have seen something and they must have run with it. I can imagine it cost them a lot of money to put those young ladies through tennis school. Yeah, let's go with tennis school. Through tennis school, to get a coach here and there, to take them to practice, to wake them up, to monitor their meals, because they're athletes. If you look at their bodies, you will know that this body has been receiving attention for a long time. It's not crash diets. They have muscle mass, and you will know that somebody did that work. So their parents saw something. It is what they saw that constrained them in that particular line. That's why they are superstars at tennis. You mentioned tennis, you mentioned Venus and Serena Williams, among other people. But they stand out for me because they are black women and they are amazing at what they do, right? So somebody put in that work. Their parents saw something. Look at Mark too. His parents must have put in the work because they raised him to be able to think critically, to challenge status quo, to look at emails and think, how about we create a platform where somebody can become somebody's friend? How about that? Can we try that? And they did it, and he did it. Okay? So it's important to see the future as a parent. If you don't see, then you will be groping in the dark because there's no clear direction. There's no clear destination. That clear destination is what will keep you in line. Okay, I'm still going to talk about why you should have a vision. I'm delving into that a little bit. But as a parent, imagine your child in 30 years. Close your eyes now, if you can, and see your fully formed adult child. What do you see? Do you see the CEO of a multinational? Do you see an epidemiologist? Okay, that came out odd the first time. Epidemiologist working to solve a problem similar to corona in future? Do you see the president of a sub-Saharan country, as they call Nigeria? Do you see a thought leader in a field, someone who speaks and people want to listen, and their line of thinking is countercultural and is so new and so fresh, and they have a perspective that is unique? Do you see someone who is in the top 1% of his field, an expert, right, in that field? Do you see a husband? Do you see a wife? Do you see a parent raising children of their own? If you're able to see this future, then you know what you need to be able to achieve that. What you need, who you need to become, like I said earlier, will be clear to you. That vision will propel you to read that book on parenting, to take that parenting support course, to talk to a professional like myself, to set money aside for their education, to expose them to certain kinds of information, to take the time to take them to museums, to take the time to expose them to arts and culture, to expose them to tech. You will make an effort. You will think about those things. Those thoughts would occur to you because of that vision. You will be intentional about their school. You won't go to the nearest school you would make an effort as much as you can afford to take them to schools. You will be on the lookout for something. You will go to a school, if you know your child is interested in music, for instance. When you're checking out schools, you want to see the facilities they have for music. You want to know if what instruments your child can learn. You want to know how far the school can take you. And if the school won't take you that as far as you would like, then you would get a coach for the child. You will teach them to play an instrument. That vision is what will do that for you, right? And also as a parent, because you have a vision, you will know what you need to unlearn in the name of culture. You will know what dead weight you need to shed in the name of culture. You will be unemotional about decisions that you take. What somebody said, how they feel about your methods, it will not matter to you. It will not matter to you. You would focus. You will focus your focus. you will focus on where you are going, having a clear picture of a destination in mind. Say for instance, you're going to the US. Nobody can convince you to enter a plane going to Dubai, for instance, or a plane that is going to Finland. What would you be going there to go and look for, right? So understanding or having a destination in mind does a whole lot for you, right? And like I said, you will know what culture variants to let go of. An example is this left hand, right hand matter. If I handed you a check with my left hand, a check of $100 million, for instance, would it matter? If it would not matter if I was handing you a check, why would it matter if it was a child that was handing you something? That you will smack their hand away, as they usually do around this part, and act like the child did something more. Okay? Like someone said, culture is peer pressure from dead people. So why are you still holding on to it? If you have a vision, those weights will drop by themselves, right? Those weights will be shed by themselves. I should add here that this perception, this picture, this future that you see for your child should extend to every child. We can't exist in isolation. Your child cannot exist in isolation. You cannot do all this work in your child and put them in a bubble. No, they would exist with other people, right? And if we don't take care of other children, then all the work we have put in our child may go to waste. Because now someone is somewhere raising your child's spouse, your child's boss, your child's colleague, the president, their college professor, their teacher, their neighbor, their tailor, their whatever. Different roles that other people will play in their lives. Someone is raising those children now. So we have to pay attention to children in society. And also every child carries potentials. And these potentials are benefits for us. A child is a solution. A child is a solution to problems of this world. When there is a problem, a child is sent. Think about it. If someone has a company now, Pfizer and some of those other companies have developed a vaccine for corona. It was somebody that did it. That person was a child. Somebody sent that person to school. Somebody fed that child and clothed that child, right? So say for instance, a child is born today and solutions are sent to this world every day. We have to see it that way. Problem solvers are sent to our world every single day, right? What we now do with those seeds, like I said earlier, is what either turns them into those problem solvers or problems. They leave the solvers out and they become problems and issues for the rest of us. So every child carries a potential. Say the cure for cancer is born now, and nobody takes the time to educate this person. Nobody takes the time to feed them. They don't have a consciousness to help people. They're not thinking solutions. They're thinking survival. Who will lose? The whole rest of us will lose. So it's important for us to bear this in mind. The cure for cancer, solution to world hunger, living in Mars when we are finished dealing with this earth and it is not habitable anymore. Somebody is hibernating. A child is hibernating those solutions. That critical thinking, somebody is hibernating it. Somebody is able to put two and two together and get results. Somebody is going to be born that will tackle climate change. And the rest of us will be like, why didn't we think of this earlier? Because we were not sent with that solution. But somebody has to care for that child. Somebody has to incubate that child so that that potential is not lost along the way. It can be your child. Your child can be carrying the cure for cancer. So what are you going to do with that global problem solver in your home? How are you going to raise them? Are you going to raise them to be able to think of cancer in future? Or are you going to raise them to just amass wealth the way our politicians around here do? Are you going to raise that kind of person? No, I think not, because you're here. You're listening to this. And I'm challenging you as a parent. Raise a solution. Raise a solution for this world, right? So it's important for us to see the bigger picture. You see this future for your child, see it for every child. See it for every child. We all benefit. We all benefit at the end of the day. So this is where my conversation ends for today. I was trying to beat the time and I think I did it. So yay to me. I hope I have helped you to start thinking in a different way, in a different direction this evening. Next Wednesday, we will pick up why. I've talked about a few whys, but we would handle why you have to have vision as a parent. You have to be deliberate. You have to script. The younger your child, the better. this is for you. But if your child is older, you can still work on it, because I'm sure you have been putting in some resources in that child. You have to prepare the child to be outstanding and exceptional. And I believe with you that you can raise that exceptional child. You can raise that child that is self-sufficient, that child that is capable of independent thought. And if you are raising a child that is capable of independent thought, you can't be saying things like, "They're very foolish, they're stupid." All those kind of words are not going to help that child raise independent thought. You can't be upset if every time this child takes an initiative and it doesn't work out. They make mistakes, they learn from mistakes, right? So as a parent, our work is is strong, but by God's grace, we will succeed at it. We will raise outstanding, amazing, successful children in their own rights, with their God-given capacities and capabilities, right? I'm turning this into a prayer meeting. I'm going to end it now. You're very welcome, sis. You're welcome. Thank you for joining in. I will see you next week. All right? Thank you. Keep thriving. Keep prospering as a parent. Keep putting in the work. And thank you again. Thank you to every parent that is doing the legwork. It is work. And I appreciate you on behalf of your children. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye now.